The recruitment office smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. Rian Walsh sat in a plastic chair, filling out forms that asked questions he didn't understand. Military service record. Avaries. Combat experience. Basic. Special skills. Can open pickle jars without those. He wasn't sure if that last one was relevant, but the form had a lot of blank spaces. Next, the voice belonged to a tired-looking woman behind bulletproof glass. Rian approached with his paperwork. I'm here about the special assignment posting. He sighed, sliding the forms through the slot. She looked at his file, then at him, then back at the file. You understand this is for the Galactic Defense Coalition Exchange Program? Yeah. It's side interesting assignment and travel opportunities. I've been stuck at the same base for 3 years. Mr. Walsh, this program involves training with alien species on what they classify as an extreme survival world. Most applicants require advanced psychological screening and enhanced physical conditioning. Rian shrugged. You went camping in Alaska last winter. How bad could it be? The woman stared at him for a long moment, then stamped his forms. Report to Transport Bay 7 tomorrow at 0600. Do and blame me if you come back in a box. 3 months later, Rian found himself on a transport ship that looked like someone had crossed a submarine with a luxury hotel. His fellow passengers were nothing like the aliens he'd seen in movies. They were real, breathing beings with their own mannerisms and habits. Commander Tal was a 7-foot-tall reptilian creature who never seemed to blink. His scales shifted color slightly when he was thinking, which was most of the time. He wore a uniform that looked like it cost more than Rian's annual salary, and he carried himself like someone who had never been wrong about anything important. Then there was Dr. Herfin. She resembled a dolphin that had learned to walk upright and wear clothes. She spoke through a translation device that made everything sound slightly underwater. Her specialty was xenobiology, and she had spent the last 50 years studying survival techniques across 12 different planetary environments. Captain Four looked like a praying mantis crossed with a bodybuilder. His forearms moved independently, and his compound eyes could apparently see in 17 different spectrums of light. He had won something called the Mantari War Games 5 times running, and he had never lost a single soldier under his command. Lieutenant Kem was the strangest of all. She appeared to be made of living crystal that refracted light in impossible ways. When she moved, she chimed softly like wine through glass tubes. Her people, the Solari, were known throughout the galaxy as master tacticians who could calculate battlefield probabilities in real time. And then there was Rian, human, brown hair, brown eyes, average height, slightly out of regulation on his last fitness test. He had joined the Marines because class was expensive and his recruiter had promised he'd see the world. Technically, he supposed this counted. The first group meeting was held in a sleek briefing room that made Rian's old base look like a historical reenactment. Commander Tao, with his regal posture and the ever-shifting scales, addressed the human directly. Tell me, human Rian, what survival training has your species provided for this mission? Standard stuff, Rian replied, trying to look professional. Basic wilderness survival, cold weather training, desert operations. Did a course on edible plants once. The other species exchanged looks that did require translation. Rian saw Dr. Herfin make a note on her datapad that sounded distinctly concerned, a sort of low-frequency warble. Captain Four leaned forward, his translator giving his voice a sharp, metallic S. Perhaps you misunderstand the nature of our destination. Mortis 7 is classified as a Class 9 Deathworld. The gravity alone will crush most biological forms. The atmosphere requires specialized breathing apparatus. The local fauna are uniformly predatory and highly aggressive. And that's just the first day, Lieutenant Kem added, her crystalline voice tinkling with what might happen amusement. The weather patterns include acid precipitation, electrical storms that can fry most technology, and the temperature swings that have been known to shatter military-grade equipment. Rian nodded thoughtfully, processing this information. Sounds like camping in Scotland. A silence fell over the room. I beg your pardon, Doctor. Herfin leaned forward, her translation device humming with confusion. Scottish Highlands, Rian clarified. Went sit on leave once. Rained sideways for 3 days straight. Couldn't start a fire to save my life. And something that might have been a sheep kept trying to eat my tent. This sounds similar, but with better weather reports. Commander Cell's scales, which had been a cool, professional blue, shifted to a deep, alarming purple. Human Rian, I believe you do not fully comprehend the severity of our situation. Mortis 7 has a mortality rate of 47% for fully equipped, technologically enhanced military personnel. That's better than the highway you grew up on. Rian sighed cheerfully. Seriously, you should see the pileups during rush hour. So, what's the food situation like? The question seemed to break something in the group dynamic. Captain Forrest Fodim's gestured in a flurry of movement that Rian was learning meant either extreme agitation or the insect equivalent of throwing your hands up in the air. Doctor, Herfin made several more concerned notes on her datapad, her translator emitting a series of worried clicks and whistles. Lieutenant Chim's crystalline structure dimmed noticeably, as if someone had turned down a light. The food situation, Commander Tao sighed slowly, his voice tight. Is that most organic matter on Mortis-7 is either poisonous, carnivorous, or both. Standard protocol requires sealed nutrition packets and purified water supplies. Like mess, but probably better tasting. Rian sighed with a nod. Do they have hot sauce in space? Because he packed some, but he wasn't sure about customs regulations for interplanetary travel. Hot sauce? Doctor. Harfin's translation device made us sound like a confused whale. Spicy food enhancer. You know, capsaicin. Makes everything taste better. Pretty standard human thing. The mission briefing completely devolved from Sir. Instead of tactical planning, Rian found himself answering increasingly detailed questions about human dietary habits, environmental tolerances, and general survival instincts. Each answer seemed to make his fellow trainees more concerned, not less. Let me understand this correctly, Lieutenant Kem sighed finally, her crystal form now barely glowing. Your species regularly consumes plants that cause physical pain. For pleasure? Hot peppers, Rian confirmed. Yeah, some people compete to see who can eat the spiciest ones. It's fun. Captain Force Mandibles clicked rapidly. And you intentionally expose yourselves to extreme temperatures for recreation, saunas, ice fishing, desert hiking. Builds character, Rian explained. Doctor, Herfin looked from Rian to her datapad. And you consider it normal to coexist with apex predators in your own dwellings? Dogs are descended from wolves. Cats are just small tigers that you let sleep on your face. Andy, my neighbor has a pet snake. Pretty standard stuff. Commander Cell's scales had gone through several more color changes and he finally settled on a sickly yellow-green. He looked like he needed a stiff drink. Perhaps we should review the mission parameters once more. But Rian was already thinking about other things. He wondered if the space food would be any good, whether the gravity would help or hurt his bad knee, and if anyone had remembered to pack playing cards for the downtime. This was shaping up to be the most interesting assignment he'd ever had. The transport ship hummed quietly through the blackness of space, carrying its strange crew toward Mortis-7, the ultimate test of survival in the known galaxy. Rian Walsh, completely unaware that he was about to single-handedly redefine several species' understanding of the word dangerous, settled in for the journey and he wondered if anyone would mind if he made some coffee. The landing shuttle shook like a paint mixer full of rocks. Through the small portal, Rian could see Mortis-7 growing larger, its surface a swirling mess of angry clouds, jagged mountains, and what looked like several different weather systems having a fight. To the galaxy's finest, it was a vision of impending doom. To Rian, it just looked like another Tuesday. This was going to be fun. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the story, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.